Welcome, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to the High Frequency Kicks podcast, available on YouTube, Spotify, Google Play, and iTunes. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
So yeah, we have Kelly Paboya on with us today, who is a martial arts instructor, and yeah, she's basically my primary instructor these days. So she's here in Winnipeg with me. So yeah, we asked her to come on and to teach us today about some nutritional aspects of our martial arts training, since Thomas and I have zero experience in that area, and we don't, we haven't really explored that too much. We basically wanted you to come on here and lecture us.
Oh, well, I know you've explored the nutrition on bacon. So
I love nutritional
bacon videos.
Nutritional bacon's the best.
And your love of bacon, yeah.
Oh, before we do that though, sorry. Mm-hmm. I did want to shout out a couple things before we started. I got too much into the conversation and I forgot.
Let's do it.
One is I am wearing the shirt that Sam got mad at me for not wearing last time. So hopefully I'm super, a second reason why I'm hoping this video works today, because everyone should see this shirt. This is really cool. Let's sit up a little higher here.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. That's the one you got from the Bruce Lee website,
the one I got
right?
from the Bruce Lee shop, shop.brucelee.com. They are not a sponsor, but they are welcome to sponsor us if they want to, because I would absolutely buy all of their stuff.
Oh my god, and then we could wear one of their shirts every time. That would be a dream.
That would be amazing. Shop.Bruce Lee. Shannon Lee, if you are listening to this podcast, because obviously you're listening to this podcast, sponsor us. Everyone should tweet at her to get her to sponsor us. That'd be great.
Heck yes.
Okay.
Second thing
that sounds good.
is, last episode also we talked about the Paper Tigers movie, which we both loved. It was an awesome movie. It has been getting a lot of traction. It's doing really, really well. It just actually hit Netflix, which I think is really cool and worth commenting. Just calling out that, congratulations to them. That's an awesome thing to get actually on Netflix, because the movie is amazing and everyone should watch that. And the last thing is, I am still enthralled by the analytics that we have on our podcast, and I keep watching them. And whoever's listening from Germany is still checking out. That number has it's keeping up with everything else. It's not just gone down to 0.5%, while all the other numbers go up. So someone in Germany is actively listening to this, which I love it. So
hi Germany,
guys!
Whoever's in Germany, I love you. Keep listening. You're the best. You're my new favorite.
Shout out to that guy.
Hey, I'm part German.
Yeah.
Your first guest is part German.
Awesome. So that's all I wanted. I just wanted to call up the German people. My shirt and Paper Tigers is on Netflix. Is really cool. I think that's all.
Yeah,
worth noting.
we're all looking really good, so I really do hope the video works.
It's better.
Because we're using a different platform, so we're a little.
We're using a different platform just so I can de-stress a bit, so people know what's going on. We're using a different platform because my computer just decided to have a heart attack and die. So at the last second, I had to just find a new solution for everything and grab my wife's laptop, which I can't get to work properly because I don't know how to use a Mac to save my life. So I found a completely different platform to do the podcast on today, because last minute changes and technical difficulties are great. So
PC people.
But if anyone could figure that out, Thomas, it would be you.
Yeah, you can do it.
Last minute changes are the best, and that's why I'm high strung now. So with that all said and done, let's talk about nutrition and why I am horrible at it.
Okay. Hang on. Maybe we should start with Kelly telling us. You can introduce yourself a bit. Tell us about you.
Well, I would not. Okay, so I live here in Winnipeg, and I would not say I'm I'm not a certified or professional nutrition person. I think that my knowledge from it just comes from all the research that I've done.
And I guess your background in the fitness competition.
Yeah. Okay.
Stuff, right? Yeah.
So, okay, I'm gonna go a little bit way back here to why I even looked up nutrition in the first place. So
keep talking. I'll be right back.
Okay. Awesome. So when I was growing up, we just had it was just we were just basic, normal, ordinary people. Didn't really go into any specific fields. My dad had his meat shop and stuff always, and my mom, I'll say that she she loved food, but didn't always love the right food. And they always, you do best for your family and you try to make sure they're always eating good, but there was a lot of stuff that, sometimes I take a look back and I'm like, maybe my mom like unknowingly was like sabotaging our health sometimes, because we were the kids that grew up on like Lucky Charms cereal and Frosted Flakes and macaroni and cheese, Kraft Dinner and Pizza Pops and all that good stuff too. It's like we did have our healthy food, but we had a lot of stuff too that wasn't healthy, and we just didn't know any better. And when my mom, when she was older, like she got really sick and her health declined, and she had some battles with cancer, and then chemo and depression, and led to diabetes and bad eating habits. And it was like a real whirlwind where I watched my mom pretty much her whole health deteriorated. And we would go to see doctors, and the doctors would tell her certain things like, well, okay, like you need to lose weight so we can give you the surgery and all this stuff. But they never really gave her a specific plan or explained why food worked the way it did. So after she had she beat the odds for where she was health wise, but later on after she passed and life goes on, I started hearing these little things about food. I worked with this one lady as a hairdresser who always had these little healthy tidbits and advices to give me, and I always found it really interesting that she knew so much about food. And then later on I didn't even get into sports until later. Like martial arts and everything came much later in my life. I was like, I think I was 28 when I had my first like martial arts experience. So I'm not someone who always knew how to pursue this kind of stuff. But I started an adult gymnastics class that I just dabbled in for recreation. Fell in love with gymnastics and wanted to be a coach, so I started coaching gymnastics. And then my coach, she was like, well, if you want to get along further, if you want to do more, you need more exercise. You need to, like, you should, watch what you eat and stuff. And so then I started taking Taekwondo, and that was my first introduction to martial arts. But I always was like so fascinated as an adult with what my body was starting to be able to do and wanted to learn more. And one time in gymnastics class, my coach brought in this competitor here in Winnipeg. She was competing in the novice bodybuilding competitions and in the fitness division. And I was like, oh my God, this is stuff you see in movies. Like, how can people even physically do this? This is amazing. She was ripped. She had abs. She was doing handstand push-ups. I was like, why didn't I discover the world of like sports way before this? Like, what's going on here, right? And then, of course, doing more with competing in I started competing in Taekwondo and stuff, and then met Sunny. And I told him I always wanted to have this dream of being able to compete in fitness one day. And he said, go for it. And sorry, Grayson's here. Grayson, yes, go. Just give me a minute. Sorry, guys. My kids. Okay, so then, so I got into fitness. And when I got into fitness, I had a whole new world of nutrition that opened up to me, and things that I didn't even know existed. Like, almost there's a science behind food and how it makes your body work. So once I started
what did you find out?
Well, like it's definitely not the way you think it is, though. And there's different eating things. So when you eat just to be healthy, or when you just eat to have a good lifestyle, that's very, very different from eating to be ready for competition, really for any kind of competition. And it's definitely something that was always made clear to me by my coaches, that don't get hung up on the end result of like when you get on stage, or like even getting into the ring. For Taekwondo, I found that when I would fight, like sometimes we'd all go out as a group and I'd see what people were eating before they would, before the big tournament. And when you're a little kid, when you're teenagers, well, that's, your body can pretty much do anything. So you don't have to hold back so much or watch so much. But as an adult, like, you really feel what works and doesn't. I found out there was foods that would actually slow down my fast twitch muscles for kicking and stuff. So it just, like, I just started reading. I started Googling. I started like double checking and triple checking and everything, because I was just like, how is this all working? It was crazy. And being in the fitness field, you're losing weight, your muscles are getting strong, you're able to do things you weren't able to do before, and your energy levels change. Like everything just changes. And the one thing I loved about fitness is once you're in that 3-month, really that strict cleanup mode, and you're stripping everything out of your diet, like you're living just off of like vegetables and portions amount of meat, which is not fun.
That sounds like a sad time.
It's not the it's a little crazy, everything's like you're only allowed like this many carbs, you're allowed this much fats, you're allowed this much proteins, you have to eat every 3 hours. Like it's a very interesting thing, but it teaches you so much about your body. It's insane. And the second you stray from that, you feel how food works differently in your body, and sometimes even makes you sick. Like there are people I know, I hear them where they try about these diets and they're like, well, I'm cutting dairy out. And it's like, I always have to ask, like, why are you cutting dairy out? Because you cut dairy out for so long, your body you'll become like lactose intolerant. So, which is what happened to me. Competing 3 months of a strict diet, I was lactose intolerant, or at least it felt that way, because I'd be really sick if I put, milk in my coffee or wanted ice cream. So I was like, I can't go without ice cream. So I'm like, I will restrict the amount of ice cream I have, but I thought, I don't want a life without ice cream. So I was able to wean myself very slowly back onto dairy. So, like I said, there's different reasons for eating and doing the things that you do. I think one of the biggest inspirations when it comes to not getting obsessed, the way I sometimes see people, they're so obsessed and they're like, oh, I'm jumping on this diet, or I'm jumping on this diet and I have to give up this or do that. Something that keeps me from always getting too obsessed with stuff is my grandparents, actually. My grandparents, they're like almost in their 90s, and they're still like tent camping, and they go on road trips and they do stuff. And I wouldn't say they're like, you wouldn't Google them and be like, oh my gosh, they look like bodybuilders, or oh, they look like this, and yay for them on their age. But the fact that they're able to live a good quality of life, and they just ate real food, right? Like they come from a time when you lived off the farm. They have crazy stories, actually, because of their age. They have stories that go back to times of war, and I don't know, like this crazy, like almost like where they had to live off the land and they caught rabbits, and you just did stuff to survive. So, but when it comes down to it, things that they did, like my Oma always baked. She made her own food, and a lot of it was like just, you eat real food. Same with on my dad's side of the family. On my dad's side of the family, he was a farmer. He always farmed. They grew their vegetables. My dad he's like 72 years old, and he still has this big garden, and he gets these massive looking onions and, cucumbers and squashes, and he just has the green thumb to do all this. But I mean, like, my dad is always, like, he's still going at his age, and it's just from eating real food. So, I say that people don't have to, like, cut out gluten. I mean, unless, you have celiac disease or a gluten intolerance, there's definitely things that you should do to improve your health. You can reduce a lot of stuff, but I don't think you have to go to the extreme of giving it up unless, you have a specific goal. You want to get on stage, you need to get in the ring, you're competing at a higher level. That's where the real changes come in. Yeah. And at best, I'd always say I get a specialist who specializes in sports nutrition. I've invested in quite a few nutrition programs through people that I've really admired. Some of them live here in Winnipeg. I've had, like, if I ever got on stage, I always say when I'm 50, I'm going to get on stage again. So I don't know. I put it out there in the universe. Maybe it'll happen. But if I do, I'm going to go see my friend Dan, and I'll get him to coach me through the whole thing, because first you need someone to make you accountable, and you need someone who really can help you get through the tough times that you'll reach when you're going through these diets to reach these goals. Because you'll definitely
where does Dan work out of?
Well, he just has his own, it's his own nutrition business he has. He's he's a firefighter actually here in the city. And he just does this on the side, but he's trained many, many people in the fitness world.
Does his business have a name?
Yes, it does. And I
Do
would
you
have to
know
look
what
it up.
it is?
It's a performance lab. I just don't know if it's called like, I think it's DB Performance Lab. But I could get you the actual thing, so I could put the link up here
Yeah, sure.
or in comments or something. Yeah, he's great. I wouldn't go see anybody else but him if I was going to get on stage again.
Cool.
And his meal plans are just real. He keeps it real. It's just real food. He doesn't make you go like into all these crazy like supplements and stuff. You know, he just does what you're looking for your goal and your body type and how your body acts. He like really specializes in that. So shout out to Dan Brown.
Whee!
Yeah.
But I've also had fun investing in other little tidbits like Heidi Moneymaker. She's the stunt woman for Black Widow in the Marvel Studios. And she has this fun little fitness program and a stunt woman workout thing, and it comes with a nutrition plan. And I love getting recipes. I love your cat, Thomas.
Yeah, he's a brat.
Yeah.
So she has recipes on her social media?
Oh, yeah. I love finding, because you know what? So many people think sometimes that when you start like a diet plan or you need to lose weight or to clean up, I get a lot of people sometimes thinking that like, oh, it's hard, it doesn't taste good. Some of the best foods I've ever had are from like learning how to just make food taste good naturally on its own. You know, you get these like, I have these pumpkin protein bars or smoothies or like coconut overnight oats. And you get all these like great tasting recipes, and you're like, if you plan your food and you meal prep, sometimes like that's all you need to do to be able to stay on track, and it changes so much.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
your energy goes up. Your like my skin has been so good since I've been eating better, you know, and
Yeah, like you
just-
notice those different things. Like if once you start having even a little bit more of a plan, you notice those
Yeah.
toxic behaviors. They make much more of an impact when you
Yeah.
go back to them. I've noticed, because like I did that once. Like it wasn't I wouldn't go so far as to call it a diet, but when I was training for my last black belt, I was like making sure to I was just basically cutting out junk. And I was like drinking only water and just eating food, and then the carbs I was eating was basically rice, with my, just like, I was just things that were obviously bad for you. I was just like very strictly not eating it. And then when I kind of went back, it's like now you notice, or even like working out less than I was used to at the time. It's like I notice the ailments that come along with it, or I guess
Yeah.
for lack of a
Absolutely.
better term. So Kelly, what about like, okay, so for the cat,
You're
this
so
cat,
distracting.
this cat is like, you haven't had enough of a day today, so I need
I
to.
really hope the video works, because people need to see my cat's butt.
The video's too good today, and I
Tail
hope it-
right across your nose.
I've checked the settings a couple times here, and it says it's recording video, so I pray to God it's right.
Okay. So what we wanted to know is like, so for someone in our situation where we're just training, we don't have like we do more intense stuff now and then, such as like, for example, like a belt test. But like for a day-to-day kind of regimen, do you have any like suggestions for us? Because I don't know, we're not terrible, but for the most part we're not strict about what we're putting
and
in our
I
body.
get it, because I have kids, and I have 2 older kids and 2 younger kids, and well, I mean, like, hey, there's lots of good food out there, and some of it isn't necessarily good for you, but
Yeah, so
like, I
what
can't-
are like
I
some
said, I
simple
couldn't imagine my life without ice cream, right?
Yeah.
right?
Or,
Yeah, 'cause, like-
or I'm a tea drinker. I like, or go to Starbucks. And treat
Yeah, because
yourself.
like I think that's the big thing for me is like, for me, I don't have a particular enjoyment of making food. There's people that love to like cook and make food. I'm not one of those people. I will wait till I am hungry before I will start making food. And at that point, I just don't want to make the food anymore. I just want to eat it. So like
I hear ya.
I know how to, even with that, I have enough knowledge for basic maintenance. I know enough to know when I need to like certain things, like, okay, I'm trying to build muscle now. I know I need to have more calories, more protein.
Calories, yep.
I know these things, but it's still not easy for me to do it. And I I wouldn't say I eat horribly. Like, I like Wendy's, and every now and then I'll have a Wendy's burger because also it's like right next to my place. And Wendy's, if you want to sponsor me, absolutely, I'm all about that as well.
Shout out to the Baconator. I just gotta say that.
Man, I'm all about the Asiago chicken sandwich. It's good stuff. Anyways, right? Like I don't eat the best, but like for myself right now, like I'm trying to build. I want for my own training right now with some of the things that I'm working on my time, working on doing a little more muscle gain than previously. So like, I know some things, but I don't know a whole lot about like. Also, and the fact that I hate to like prepare food doesn't help.
Yeah, it's well, like I said, unless you're really like going to dig in for some sort of like competitive or competition goal, I don't think people have to get like so like crazy or insane with it. I mean, first you got to know.
What if we're just like looking to have like just that, get that day-to-day like a bit more energy or something like that. Like what?
So
what
the
would
best
you
thing
do?
you can always do, the best thing you can do is first of all try to like get rid of the processed foods. Make your foods, which is like you said, sometimes you don't want to do it, but there's still like really easy things to go to, right? Like, go to a granola cereal instead of going to like, sugary cereals. And I have to tell you, sometimes for myself, I think all of our bodies are designed differently. And when you tune into your nutrition, you can really tune into what works best with your body. So like I notice for me, I don't have really intolerances, but my body definitely acts different. Like gluten, I save that only for like cheat days. If we're going out to a fancy restaurant or we're, you're at a birthday party or something. Otherwise, when I'm at home, I do not eat gluten at all. I don't eliminate my dairy because I don't want to be lactose intolerant, but I do reduce it greatly. And I think that certain things for just day-to-day stuff, you want to increase your vegetable intake, first of all. Because I always tell my kids...
To what?
Okay, so let's say I said you wouldn't have to really change your eating habits that much, but if you could add, which is going to sound like a lot, anywheres from, let's say, start with an extra 4 to 6 cups of vegetables a day.
Cups, like cup the measurement?
Well, roughly, yeah.
4 to 6? That sounds like a lot.
It does, right? Mm-hmm. It's not hard to do, though. And then when you think, if you had to put all those vegetables into you, how much room is left for the other stuff?
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, so, like, okay, so, for example, one of my days would be, I would have, like, 2 or 3 eggs in the morning, and I would have, like, a half a avocado, and I'd have, a half a cup of raspberries, and that would be my breakfast. Or I'd make myself like a spinach and onion and cheese omelet, or a smoothie. And anytime I make smoothies, it's like there's always a handful of vegetables that goes in there for sure, whether it's spinach or cucumber or, usually the leafy stuff, kale or whatever, you can throw any kind of vegetable. I'm sorry, you can probably hear my dog barking. I don't know. You hear my dog barking in the background.
We're all dog fans.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, good. I got 2 noisy ones sometimes. So I try to always, and then you have your snack. I always have a little snack. And it depends. Like, it depends on how many meals you need to eat. I like to go my day 5 to 6 meals. So I usually go a little bit smaller, but I will eat 5 to 6 times a day. And I just fit, like, it's very easy for me to get like 3 or 4 cups, like for a salad. Throw my salad together, get 3 or 4 cups of my lettuce and my cucumbers and my mushrooms and my peppers, and I put that in my salad, and then I throw in some meat and a little bit of cheese, and I just use olive oil and salt and pepper to season. I find the foods with the preservatives and the additives, that affects my body more, So it's good to play around with your food. If somebody was really like, if you really wanted to kind of know what would work best for your body, first make a list of the vegetables that you will eat, that you would eat for sure. Because I know some people are like, I'll never touch tomatoes, or I'll eat carrots, but only if they're cooked, never if they're raw, So you have to figure out what, first of all, is something that you'll agree to.
I did that recently, and I'm like, I find myself buying so many more vegetables than I used to because I did that exact thing, kind of figured out basically whatever will go in a taco. Like I'm all over all those vegetables,
Yeah.
but I can't stand a carrot. I can't stand, it's like stuff like that. So I'll never buy like those certain things. So yeah, I did something right.
I know.
Yeah. So that's good. So first, figure out the vegetables you will eat, and then try to make sure that you're incorporating them into your life on a daily basis. And if there's ever times like that you have a hard time and you're like, I'm so busy today, I'll be lucky if I get by with like a smoothie and supper, I like to keep in my cupboard. You go to anywhere, it's like Vita Health or wherever your local health food store is, and I get these cold pressed greens. They're like a powdered green, and you can take a scoop and you can just stir them into your almond milk, or you can stir them into your smoothie if you're like, I have no time for vegetables. So you can get a scoop of these greens.
Awesome.
So the biggest transition when eating a lot of vegetables, though, is sometimes if your body's not used to it, you're going to want to maybe get a little bit of, I usually get like a digestive enzyme, or I would avoid people or try to avoid people for the next 3 or 4 days where your body adjusts, because all of a sudden it's got to burn, it's got to work harder. Shh, puppy dog, my doggy's here. It'll burn harder, so you'll feel bloated in the beginning. You'll probably get really gassy. It will be an adjustment. Mm-hmm. That's something you have to realize is like, it's not that it's working badly in your body. It's just your body has to get used to the new burn and the new way that it's got to work taking care of all these vegetables. So, just give yourself an adjustment period. But vegetables are good. And I think sometimes if people did the research to find out what it is they're eating and why they're eating it too, it's really fascinating. Because there was a time when I was like before my 20s, even into my early 20s, I would not touch ginger. And my mom tried. She tried so hard to make me like ginger. And I was like, no, ginger's gross. Ginger doesn't taste good. Like, yeah, get it away. I'm not putting that in my diet. But ginger is a superfood. It's crazy what it can do for your body. We have ginger all the time. Now I eat it all, like, constantly.
Yeah, I think
it's
that's
food.
that was one of the best pieces of information you've ever given me, is that like if I can feel myself getting sick, I will like have ginger and I will feel like instantly better. Or even if I already am sick, same thing. And it's like, and it's crazy what a difference it makes.
Mm-hmm.
Like ginger is insane.
I love ginger.
Yeah.
My wife.
Yeah.
Makes,
How do you guys feel about broccoli?
I love broccoli too.
I like broccoli. I've always liked broccoli, even as a kid.
Yeah.
Okay.
As
so
a kid, I liked how I felt like a giant, like I was eating a tree.
This is one of my reading sources. I was going to invest in getting certified into this a long time ago, which I love it's called precision nutrition coaching. And so this is my brain. I read and I look and I research and I get all this information and it all makes sense to me and I understand how it works. But then to be able to explain it back to people, my tongue does not work. I cannot pronounce the words or be like, oh yeah, this, blah, 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 and make myself sound like one of those smart professionals. So I'm just like, that's okay. Maybe it's not my calling to be like a certified professional that way, but I have all the information. But I wanted to read this to you because like, yeah, some people, they like broccoli, some people, they don't like broccoli, and it's kind of like whatever, right? But so if you didn't like broccoli before, hopefully anyone listening will just give it a shot. Because I'm going to read you this little thing about broccoli. Okay, and because this is like the science. This tells you like how the food, the proteins, the carbohydrates, the glucose, the fats, all this kind of stuff, how it breaks in and gets into your cells and works into your cells. And there's a lot of words I can't pronounce, so bear with me. But when it comes to broccoli, they're saying here, it contains compounds, and there's a word that I can't pronounce, so I'm just going to leave it out. But it can switch on a specific gene in your body. So next time you're eating broccoli, realize that this is how it's working. It's switching on a specific gene in the liver that detoxifies cancer-causing chemicals and other toxins. And without broccoli, this gene remains inactive, and our bodies would have to look for a different way to do that, right? But with broccoli, this gene is upregulated and participates more actively in the detoxification process. So it's like broccoli is a powerhouse,
Yeah, I had no idea.
And you just take a look at, right? Like, so it's like now you just appreciate your broccoli a little more. It's like fighting and detoxing and fighting off cancer, and That's
That's
good
awesome.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, team broccoli.
Right. Team broccoli, I am. I'm like, that was the only, like, the one food I could ever get my daughter Trinity to eat. It would be broccoli.
That's awesome.
And she doesn't eat it, and it makes me crazy. So we do the powdered greens in her yogurt, and we mix that up because I'm like, you're not getting away without your deep green vegetables.
I love how you talk about like how everyone's body is different, and like 'cause, and for me, like one of the things that I noticed too is like everyone's got to do, like ignoring the fact that like our goals are all different for what we want to achieve, like how our bodies process things differently. Like I know for myself, I am, I'm 32 years old. I've been doing martial arts since I was like 10. But also, like, I remember, growing up, and I mean, Kelly and Sam, you guys both know this, like, the number of times we go out to eat someplace, and I just eat everything. And I eat so much more than everyone else. And everyone's always like, oh, yeah, you're 16, you're 17, that'll slow down when you hit, like, 25. I am 32, and I still do that, and I don't, like, nothing happens. Like, I don't, like, my body works that way, and I'm aware of that. I'm aware that at some point that'll probably change. But, like, you're talking about, like, everyone's different, and, like, I think that's a huge thing to keep in mind as well. Like, yeah, for some people, you hit 30 and that metabolism slows down and you have to adjust for that. Some people, you're like me. I'm 6'4". I am 173 pounds. Like, technically, I'm underweight. Technically. I'm not really underweight. But, like, that's a huge thing to keep in mind, that, like, you're not built the same way as the next person. But, like, you're talking also about sneaking the stuff into Trin's diet and whatever else, and like for myself too, like
Sneak stuff into your children's food.
yeah, sneak some food, sneak,
The good stuff.
sneak some good stuff in there.
Sneak the good stuff.
But like, there's also like for adults even, like I know adults that like I have a friend who like I think he listens to this show, and if you're listening, you'll know who I'm talking about. Who he hates his greens. He calls it rabbit food, and he wouldn't eat a lot of his greens until his wife or fiance, girlfriend, I don't know, until his significant other started cheating a little bit and like making smoothies out of things and mincing things and doing different things. And all of a sudden he's like, oh, okay, spinach isn't that bad. Oh, okay, I can eat this. But like, there's so many tools too. Like for myself, like especially because I hate cooking, or I don't hate it. I don't derive explicit joy from it, from the process of making food. But there's so many different ways now of making the process easier. Like for veggies, we found a lot of frozen smoothie supplements, like Evive. We've been getting Evive because it has a lot of the fruit and veggies in there. And another thing that we started doing that we don't have active right now, but I've used it in the past, is the food delivery services, like HelloFresh. We had HelloFresh for a while. And honestly,
I like HelloFresh.
I think it's amazing. HelloFresh, you can sponsor me too. I love your stuff.
Send us food.
I'm going to call out everyone that I want products from. But I actually, HelloFresh helped me, and similar to, we tried a few different ones. I think HelloFresh is the one that we like the best. Just personally.
Jason's peeking in the laundry room.
Just because, like, I love their foods, their meals, but like those services are fantastic for someone like myself who doesn't want to cook explicitly.
Yeah, no,
because,
absolutely. That's so nice to see nowadays. They didn't have that on the market, you know, 10 years ago.
And it's great. Like,
places that would make healthy meals for you.
Yeah, well, and I mean, they send you all the things. You have like what we've done now, because like I said, we don't have it active right now, but we keep all the recipe cards from all things. We make little
that's what I did.
So
that's
like,
what I did.
When there's times when like we're doing our own meal prep, we're doing, we gotta get our groceries for the next 2 weeks. I can just go through our cards and be like, hey, we're gonna have, pick out 3 and 4. Okay, this we're gonna eat for next week, and it gives me exactly how much of everything we need, and the ability on their site to choose, well, I don't like these things, or I'm intolerant to this, or whatever, is so good. So for people who don't like to cook, who have struggled with enough time to, the other big thing is me trying to plan things out and figure out what I want, like what do I want to do. I don't have the mind to like visualize. I can't look at my pantry. My wife can do it. I can't do it. But to look at my pantry and be like, okay, I have these things, and I can put them in this combination to make this dinner. I can't do that to save my life. That's not in my repertoire, not in my brain. To look at,
not with that attitude.
To look at ingredients, no, it never will be. I can look at a computer. I can look at a blank text document and an end goal, and I can make some software. But to look at my pantry and be like, I got these spices, and I got potatoes, and I got whatever things, and make a dinner out of that, not gonna happen. But with HelloFresh, it's just like, it's done. I don't have to like
Yep.
figure it out. It's just like, which one of these looks yummy today? That's what
Well,
I'm
and
going
then
to go with.
yeah, and then you put it together, and it's teaching you as you go.
Yeah.
You know, like the same, because like there was a lot of stuff like when I was competing in fitness, you know, one of my first, you know, some of the first things I got would be like, okay, you're going to have like this much protein, this much vegetables, and this many carbs today, and these are the list of foods you could choose from. So they give you what you could choose from, and then you have to figure out how to put it together and how to make it taste good, because you're not just going to have like in the old days they were like boiled chicken and steamed broccoli, and it's like, how much of that can you take, right?
Yeah.
So
delicious.
You know, so the nutrition field has come such a long way. But, you know, so you figure you get your herbs and your spices out. So sometimes it's good if you can like just spend a day just, you know, finding out some, like playing with food and playing with the herbs and playing with the spices, you know, like every week. Okay. So much. So if you were to ever like just to Google stuff and look into certain things, gut health is super important.
Yeah.
Bone broth soup, making your own bone broth soup. I got this recipe from the Heidi Moneymaker, like the Stunt Woman nutrition platform. And she was like, okay, so I always knew that bone broth soup was good, but you have to add in like 1 to 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. So you take your bones and you let them simmer for a minimum of 24 hours, which is a long time, really long time. But she says it's the best for getting all the collagen out, and it's really good for your gut health. And sometimes I just drink it in a cup, like a cup of tea. I have my cups in the fridge. I let them stay in the fridge overnight so I can just scoop off that little hard layer of fat. Some people like it. I tend to take most of it off. I share it with my puppy dogs. They love me for that. And then I heat it up, like I stir in whatever is there, and I just drink it like I would do a cup of tea. Because gut health is really, really important. So, but yeah, you just kind of you get to learn things and see things as you're cooking it along the way. So if you're doing a lot of this HelloFresh, it's probably showing you things that you wouldn't have just thought of on your own, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it like expands your cooking vocabulary, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I made butter chicken with HelloFresh. Like,
That's cool. That is awesome.
Yeah.
I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you save I got all my favorite recipes in a cupboard. And then, so what I do is I try to meal prep as much as I can. But when I know there's days when you're busy, and it might be something to think of too. So you write down like your very quick 5-minute go-to things, right? So like I have just my oatmeal and blueberries that I can make, which literally takes me 3 minutes on the stove. And this is going to sound like a funny one, but I got this from this one trainer and it tastes delicious. So like it's like an omelet. So I do my 3 eggs with a banana, slice up a banana, put it in there for the omelet, and I sprinkle cinnamon on it. And it's such a fast. It's like, okay, I'm starving. I don't want to I don't want to eat the wagon wheels that my kids have stashed in the pantry. I need something that's good and going to curb my sweet tooth. So I've got these little recipes written on the inside of my pantry.
Sure.
And they're all like good, clean, just food. You know, your eggs or your cottage cheese and pineapple, or you know, I have well, because I work with my dad, and my dad has a meat shop, I always have good meat in the fridge. So sometimes it's just a matter of grabbing that little piece of steak that I cooked the night before, and I'll take that, you know, and chop that up and eat it. So you have your little go-to recipes where you're like, man, I'm so hungry, but I don't want to cook. What can I just quickly look at and grab? Peanut butter balls are amazing. You get this recipe for protein peanut butter balls, and it takes like literally like not even 10 minutes to make them. You keep them in your fridge or your freezer. They're so good, right? They got like chia seeds and flax seeds and little dark chocolate chips in them. And
Yeah, it sounds kind of awful, but
yeah,
you describe it, but no, you eat them and
you
they're
learn
like
to like that food though. When you see how it
so
makes
good.
your body feel, like, oh man.
Yeah.
So and then like you said, Thomas, you're someone who's like you're nice and tall, and you can eat things, and it doesn't sit on your body the way for me. Like I can't eat things. I have to fight for like every calorie. If I decide I'm going to eat something, or if I'm going to stray from my diet, I realize that's a fight I have to deal with if I want to still be able to wear a bikini at my age, or if I want to, you know, if I'm going to switch to that one-piece bathing suit and stuff. So there's always a battle for me and my body type. Mm-hmm. So, and I know that there's definitely amount of work that has to go in with it. Like, especially once I got to my 40s, I'm like, oh, I have to, as soon as I don't work out 3 times a week, like I like to try to work out 5 times a week, but I know for a fact I have to do at least 3, because if I do anything less than 3, my body starts to change. I have to eat a certain way, because as soon as I start to snack more or I stray from what I know works for me, I'm like, and I refuse to go and buy that bigger size of pants. So if my pants start fitting too tight, I'm like, clean it up, Kelly, smarten up, more green tea, more bone broth soup, more egg whites, clean it up so that I can be comfortable. Because, you know what, I know there's that ad out there, you got to love your body, and everybody should love your body. For me, that's a really hard concept.
But I think loving it's also taking care of it at the same time.
Yeah.
If you're treating your body if you're treating your body like not very well, then then you're not technically loving your body.
Right. And I always worry, like I said, I watched a good portion of my mom's life be surrounded in hospital beds and sickness. And it's funny how I think of it like the little bit of maintenance it takes to eat more vegetables so that it can help rinse out the crap if I do decide to, maybe I drank a little bit too much coffee today, or I want to take my kids out for ice cream, or I've done really well, but I know that we want to have a pizza night and and stuff. So when I want to stray, like I know I got to really clean it up the next day, but I know I want to do that because I know that by taking care of my body through food will make it different for me, because I've seen how my mom didn't take care of her body through food and how that turned out. But then I've also had other people. So like I did have a friend who had cancer, and of course, like he beat it and he did good, and he is a very healthy eater. So the difference I noticed, and it's not to say that like food is a medicine that you'll never get sick if you do it right, because there's no guarantees like that. So I would never say that. But I noticed with him when he was sick and going through his chemo, it was not the same result as when my mom was sick and going through chemo. My mom was sick. She was in bed. She had a hard time. Everything about her life changed and it was bad. He didn't suffer the way she did. And I can only think it was because his body was already in such a good space because of the amount of vegetables he ate and because of the amount of working out he did and how he took care of himself. Like, I was just like, I couldn't believe how well he did. Because for me, what I saw on the other end was like how bad it could be.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, so sometimes switching your diet is really hard. Or some people get so extreme. Like, I'm not trying to knock the keto diet because I know it does work for some people. And I know it's good for people with epilepsy. So definitely if you have epilepsy, look into it. But I know there's a huge amount of people that sometimes they jump into these certain types of diets. It's like if you're going to start restricting things in your diet, you have to understand what you need to replace it with.
Yeah.
My one cousin for a while.
I think the biggest point there is like, and even though like we have done, you most of all, Cal, but we have done some research of our own and we have some knowledge on the fact, and we're talking about it here on this podcast. And if people are listening to us, I hope what you take away from this more than anything else is if you're going to do something, speak to an actual professional. Speak to your doctor or nutritionist first before you just like jump on a diet, because there's so much out there, and there's for every goal, and even if your goal is just to eat healthy versus like you're saying competitions or whatever it may be, like don't just hop on a fad. Don't even just take our word for this. Like,
start with your own research. Just take a look and be like, okay, think of your 5 favorite fruits or the 5 favorite vegetables and Google. Be like, benefits of broccoli, benefits of ginger, benefits of apples, benefits of watermelon. And start looking at that, and it will change your perspective. Whether you're losing weight or gaining muscle, that's all that's calorie displacement. So, and if you have a really specific goal, like I said, get a sports nutritionist. Like, check with your doctor, but I always found like the best advice came from the people in the sports nutrition field, because they would have to tweak what you needed for your competitions and your goals, and they would have to make sure that you're reaching that, right? So they would really give you a good understanding specifically of Well, when you wake up in the morning, half an hour after you wake up, you're going to eat this, this, and this. And then after that, you're going to eat this, this, and this. And, you know, it was a really good wake-up call for how the body works the way it does with food. But, yeah, like if you just want to get started in eating better for yourself, first start with real food. Don't eat the like the chocolate chip cookies from the Sobeys bakery, even though they're delicious. Make your own chocolate chip cookies. Look up a healthy recipe where you're using real ingredients, you know, and make your own cookies, and then just watch it. Like, you gotta tell yourself, okay, I will have 2 today, and not the whole tray that I just baked. Portion control is important, but you can make recipes. You can make a chocolate cake from real ingredients, and you just, you know, you portion it out. I'll have a little bit today, in a couple of days I'll have a little bit more, or I'm going to have this treat, but I'm going to stick it in the freezer, and I'm not going to eat it until I've had 4 days where I've eaten really good, clean food. Look at the types of grains. Research like good grains. You don't have to go carb free. That's crazy. People would say like, oh, I'm cutting out carbs. Why are you cutting out carbs? Carbs are delicious and they're good for you if you eat the right ones.
I think that's another great point. Like, yeah, like if you want cookies, have cookies. But like if you do it right, like you don't have to cut out the treats. Like or you don't have to cut them out. No, you don't have to cut them out. You don't have to cut them out at all. Like you can, they said, cut back on some and watch how where you're getting them from. Right? But yeah, like if you, I have a sweet tooth. I like my you know, Sour Patch Kids or whatever. Like I like sugary candies, and that's one of my weaknesses. But like, you know, I don't have, you know, for anything, you don't have to cut out all of your fun stuff, those cheap things. Just be careful of quantity and I guess quality would be the other one. Like, are you making it yourself? Can you make it yourself? Where's it coming from? But
like go like. And like I said, if you're eating your vegetables, if you're getting a good, healthy intake of your vegetables every day, then that kind of helps to rinse out when you do eat the bad stuff, you know? So, like I said, I'm not here to say that I'm this expert, but I can tell you that just as a mom who's trying to watch, because I still like competing. I mean, I don't do it in the ring anymore. But the forums, like, you know, me and Sam are going to jump into that One Hop Kendo online competition. So in order to be able to perform our best, you know, you gotta, for me at my age, I gotta watch. I gotta make sure, because I know there's days that my energy levels drop or things get sluggish. And if I keep it clean and I eat real natural foods, you know, but then I've done a lot of research into it too. So if somebody was to get started, I would just say first, you gotta start looking at increasing your vegetable intake. You gotta keep your foods, get away from the refined sugars, get away from the flours and stuff. Go switch your pastas to like a gluten-free pasta or something, you know, like I said, unless you're having a cheat day. My one trainer told me 90% clean, you're 10% cheat. So if I'm eating my 5 to 6 meals a day, then usually there's 2 meals a week that I could say, okay, we're going to go for burgers at A&W, or we're going to hit the ice cream shop, you know, like just watch when you do it, and just, and like I said, and watch the processed foods or the preservatives, the additives, that kind of stuff just wreaks havoc on your metabolism.
I think it's all just a balance, right? Just you know, don't go too far to one side.
Yeah, and take a journal. Write a journal down for a whole month. Every time you eat during the day and what you're eating. And if you want to get really detailed in it, you could do the portion sizes too. But when you write down a journal, it will also help you to realize, oh, like this day I did really good. You know, I stayed on track. This day I didn't do so good. And like how you feel about it, because you'll all of a sudden pinpoint, oh, I was eating really good these days, but then this day we went out for Chinese food, and I love Chinese food, but I always notice I've never eaten Chinese food before competitions from certain places, because I guess certain restaurants with the saucier foods, I would find my twitch muscles, I would not be able to get the pop out of them.
Sure.
You know? Or sorry, McDonald's. Okay, McDonald's has the tastiest ice cream, for sure. Like, you know, the blizzards and stuff, but I had to stop eating that because literally I could eat one of their ice creams, and for whatever reason, it would take me like 2 days to get my stomach back on track. I would be very bloated and I would just feel heavy. And it's like, as good as that was, I like it's not the recovery process from that particular food or the way it was made, you know. So that just means I usually, if I wanted an ice cream, I go to places with different ice cream. I hate to knock places, but that's just how it works on my body. Some people, I'm sure, they can eat it without the reaction, but I found that, you know, it's like a once a year treat. If I'm going to do it, it's like, oh, I only do this once a year.
Yeah.
So if you take away anything, just like I said, eat your vegetables, start researching, just Google every now and then why it's good for you, because then you appreciate it more. Mm-hmm. Right. And, yeah, there's like, just watch out. If you're going to jump into a diet, I would just check with your doctor and maybe, I always cross check, you know, because sometimes what's out there on Google isn't always the whole truth, or it's just a version. So you got to find what works for your body. Journaling is good. Meal prepping is good. Eating your vegetables, definitely recommend it. So anything, I could get into more specifics, but that would take.
Yeah, we could go for a long time, but we should definitely try to not do like a full day long podcast.
No, yeah, we'll cut it now, right?
Speaking of food, I want to go get some soon.
What are you gonna get, Sam?
I'm gonna make tacos.
Nice.
Tacos are good.
Yeah.
There's lots of vegetables in tacos.
There is some good chicken, good protein.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just do taco
beef.
salads.
I learned quite a bit, so thank you so much for coming on. And yeah, have some very easy, applicable tasks we can use in our lives now, so that's good.
Yeah.
Good.
And a lot of people that I asked to sponsor us, so we'll see what happens there. Hopefully that works.
I look forward to hearing from
You
all
never
of them.
know,
Yes.
hopefully, right?
We'll see. Maybe our buddy in Germany who works for one of those companies.
Maybe.
German Wendy's, Das Wendy's. Or something, I don't know.
I don't know how you'd say Wendy's in German.
He's gonna stop listening now.
Oh no! Don't go away, German guy.
I'm
or
sorry.
Girl, German
I'll never
person.
do an impression ever again.
We love you, German person. But definitely thanks for chatting with us, Sale. I appreciate that.
Right. Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. This was very exciting for me.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Thank you for listening to the High Frequency Kicks podcast. Remember to subscribe on your favorite streaming service and give us a like.